The Cavaliers have a huge decision to make about Isaac Okoro as they head to the playoffs and get their roster set, deciding who will play and who won't. Is Okoro one of them? His past month maybe says yes, maybe says no. His past history maybe says yes, maybe says no. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about who could get minutes instead of Okoro for the Cavaliers as they inch closer to a 1 seed and a spot in the playoffs and more. Hey everybody, Billy BB back with you on Cavs Digest. Excited to talk Cavs basketball. They are fighting through a very difficult schedule, a tough time. We were just talking about that in our last video. The NBA screwed the Cavs, right? If you want to find out more about that, my thoughts on that, go back and watch that video. We're getting set for the playoffs. I really hope the Cavaliers can snag that 1 seed right and move forward. That's the biggest thing for me, is get this thing done and move into the playoffs. But while they're doing so, I think they're trying to make some decisions, Kenny Atkinson and company, trying to figure a few things out and how they want to play things going into the playoffs. So, as we talk about that and more, always be sure to subscribe if you want to keep up with the Cavaliers. We'll have game reactions. We'd love to hear from everyone after the games, talk about what the Cavaliers are doing. We've talked about potential playoff matchups, the Magic, the Pistons, the Heat, maybe even the Knicks. How would you feel about playing any of these teams? It could come down to the wire, and especially with the play-in, who the Cavaliers play in the first, second, or third round. Can you duck these teams? Can you worry about these teams? I don't know. So again, when you subscribe, when you drop down into the comments, we appreciate that. So today's topic of conversation is going to be focused around Isaac Okoro. Fresh off a 3-year, $30 million extension, right? So if you see the title of this video and you think huge, what's huge about Isaac Okoro and his role with this team? The fact that he's making $10 million a year and he's locked in for 2 more of it. He just got an extension. This team clearly thought something about Isaac Okoro, right? And now we're struggling to decide if he should be playing at all when the Cavaliers come into even a first-round matchup. They'll have some decisions to make about Isaac Okoro. And yes, we talked about Isaac Okoro about a month and a half ago because we knew down the stretch he would get opportunities to play, and what would Isaac Okoro do with those opportunities? That was always sort of a big question that we were going to be wondering, is when he got that shot to go out there and play, what would Isaac Okoro do? Now, the other thing that's tough about Isaac Okoro when we're assessing how much he should play down the stretch here and how much he should play in the playoffs, he's never been a 20-plus point, 5 assists, 10 rebound guy, right? He's not a star. He's not an all-star. So determining how much he should play can't always be based off pure stats. And we're going to jump into that. So definitely need you to drop down into the comments. First question is, what did you think about him coming into this season? Let me know down below. I was tired of it. I thought he had gotten his chances in the playoffs. He had played himself off the floor. I thought he was not good enough in the NBA playoffs to play for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think about other guys. We'll get to that. But that was my feeling on him coming into the year. I thought they had a weird, not a tough, but a weird decision to make with his contract. And I think Koby Altman said, we're not going to lose this guy for nothing. I think they tried to trade him, if you recall, and they just decided on sort of a mini extension at the $30 million for 3 years. So they locked up Isaac Okoro and got him settled. So going in, that was my thought. I thought, hey, he's a regular season guy. He's going to soak up a few minutes. Then the Cavaliers kind of filled out their roster, and I thought, man, there's just not much playing time there for him. Fortunately for Okoro, he has cemented himself in this locker room. The guys like him. He is one of the guys joking around. We saw in them working out after the game the other day, which I think is a curse, by the way. Every team that's done that has had a problem, unrelated. But the guys clearly see him as one of the not core members, I guess, but one of the guys that's been around and has meant something to this team. So I think that's noteworthy. Coming down the stretch was key. We hadn't seen a ton from him. He's been injured this year. He's been this, that, and the other. I mean, you can leave your thoughts on what you've thought of him this year after playing. And we come into the month of March. I look at Isaac Okoro's stats in the month of March. Once again, his minutes go up and down. As you can see, you're looking at in 11, a 25, a 19, a 17, a 14, 16, 12, 8 in Orlando win, and during the win streak, up and down, right? I'm not sure Kenny Atkinson has a giant high for Isaac Okoro. I think he feels some nights he has to play him, and I think other nights if guys are rolling, he's going to stick with him. Obviously, as I said, the points are never consistent and they're never giant. You really went half the month in the single digits, right? That March 2nd to March 19th, you never scored more than 7 points. And then you only score in the double digits twice after that to fill out the month. However, you get those nights where he snags a couple rebounds. He gets physical with some guys. He plays some defense. And then you get some eggs, right? 3 points, 2 assists, no rebounds. 2 points, 2 rebounds, nothing else. It's a very tricky thing with Isaac Okoro, not only for the season, because if you look at his season stats, 5.8 points per game, 2.2 rebounds. Even some of that's top-heavy to earlier in the season. You just don't love what you see stat-wise. But I thought this last month was key just because of how much they struggled and tried to mix things up. And I also thought coming down the stretch, he's going to get some more minutes to try and prove himself. And I just don't think he's owned up to it. Not on the season and not in this past month of March. The other issue for Okoro, as I kind of alluded to earlier, other guys can take his minutes. There are other options for the Cavaliers. This isn't like where they are desperate and go to a Danny Green. And I hope they don't get to the point where they're running lineups with Tristan Thompson and like last year, Tristan Thompson and Marcus Morris are on the floor in Game 7 against the Magic, in Game 4 against the Celtics. I hope they don't get to that point. You've got Sam Merrill, and you've got Javonte Green, who we saw playing a little bit the other night against the Clippers. I think Kenny Atkinson likes him. I think Koby Altman likes him. So not only has Isaac Okoro not had a good season, he's not had a good month of March, but now he has competition for a job that really he hasn't won as the 8th, 9th guy on the bench. And we know if you know ball, when you get to the playoffs, it shrinks. It gets down to 7 guys. So it's going to be a tough decision for the Cavaliers to make if Okoro is going to be a part of that 7 or 8, if he's going to be a consistent part of that 7 or 8. You also have DeAndre Hunter. Jalen Tyson has proven himself at times. Now you want to talk about not consistent minutes from Kenny Atkinson. That's a guy to talk about. But now Javonte Green and Sam Merrill. And look, I'll give Merrill the same stamp that I gave Okoro. Has been in the playoffs and has played himself out of the playoffs. So I'm not going to sit here and be a Sam Merrill truther. But I'm just saying, these are options that when Kenny Atkinson looks down the bench, he's going to say, yeah, give me Merrill. We need offense right now. And, I remember this game or that game from Sam Merrill. Pretty good against the Clippers the other night. Give me Javonte Green. I need the defense right now. And I need that for sure. Long wingspan, athleticism, and hits enough threes. And again, he may just say to himself, hey, I gave Isaac a chance. I gave him a month to really try and come into his own, and he hasn't played for it. And look, you may get some Koby Altman influence in this, but it seems like a Kenny Atkinson decisions. What do you think? Should Isaac Okoro be a part of that playoff lineup, that 7 or 8? Do you just want to see him in desperate situations, defensive situations, blowouts? Do you still want to see more from him? The Cavs have, I believe, 7 games left. So you may want to get a little more from him as they finish out the season. I'm not sure. Drop down in the comments. Let me know what you think down below.